Hi, welcome to the Dashtoon Studio Master Class. My name is Amog and I head product at Dashtoon Studio. Today we're going to focus on how to start with a story and create a wonderful Dashtoon comic out of it. Let's get started. So the agenda of today's masterclass is going to cover these items. We're going to start by converting a story into panels. We're going to look at the different image generation techniques. We're going to look at how we can do text to image, that is convert a text into an image. Image to image, that is how to combine a text prompt with a reference image as an input to generate a particular image. We're going to look at how to convert your storyboard into a comic. And we're also going to look at how to convert a photograph of an actual person into a comic panel. That's edge to comic. And then we're going to look at one very interesting method of creation, which is live mode. Once we're done with that, we're going to look at a few new features in bubbles and special effects. These are going to help you really put your comic together. Then we're going to look at how to publish a comic. And finally, I'm going to talk to you about the creator program, which is something very, very exciting that we've had going on at Dashtoon. And it's going to be very relevant to all of you folks who have a story to tell and want to put it into a comic for a Dashtoon format. So let's get started, and we'll start with a very, very simple basic story that I've written out over here. So let me read that out for you. Kirk Dalton, a secret agent wearing a tuxedo, enters an abandoned building holding a gun. It is close to midnight and the moon is the only source of light. He approaches cautiously, looking around as if he is searching for something. All of a sudden, from behind a corner, a woman appears and expertly kicks the gun out of Kirk's hand. Her name is Scarlett. She has long blonde hair and is wearing a red dress and heels. She also appears to be dressed for a fancy cocktail party. She looks determined while Kirk looks shocked. Scarlett now points a gun at Kirk, who raises his hands. Scarlett, I didn't expect you to find me so quickly. Kirk, you look like you just couldn't wait to see me again. Scarlett says, I was just preparing your surprise, darling. Kirk's smile turns into a scowl as he says, I know all about the AI robot army your organization is building. Scarlett smiles mischievously as a gigantic metallic robot with glowing red eyes appears from the darkness behind her. Well, in that case, you might as well be our first test subject. Kirk flexes his wrist and shoots out an intense red laser beam from his watch. Not so fast. I've still got a few tricks up my sleeve. All right, so that's a very basic story. It's not quite a novel. It's just something I typed up really quickly. But I'm going to show you how you can convert a simple story like this into a great Dashtoon comic. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is understand how to write a prompt. I think that's really one of the most important things you can start with while trying to create with AI assistants. Okay, the reason for this is that you have to understand how an AI assistant really interprets the instructions you give it to create an image. And the better you understand that, the better you can write those instructions. So the basic components of a prompt are as follows. So you want to describe the scene as literally as possible. So that means that you don't really want to describe how your character is feeling at that point, right? That's what a novel would say, but rather you want to describe visually what the scene looks like, because that is what the AI is going to be able to interpret into an image. You literally need to put the description of your comic panel's image into words. Okay, so a brief description. It's always helpful to specify the location and the time of the day. Time of the day, of course, is going to affect lighting. You can keep it simple. Morning, afternoon, dawn, dusk, night, midnight, full moon. All those things work. All right. The next thing we can do is add your character. And when you specify a character or characters, we're going to look at multi-character scenes as well. You really want to specify these four things: the appearance, the dress, what is the character's pose or what action are they performing, and what is their facial expression. So, of course, there can be a lot of other nuances about a character, but by and large, these 4 points pretty much account for all the major things that you want to show with your character, right? Now, it's also helpful sometimes to include the camera angle and the camera shot. These are two very different things, right? So a camera angle would be something like a side angle shot or a mid-body shot, right? A side angle or, a Dutch angle shot, all the cinematic camera shots, camera angles that you've got. Versus a camera shot, an example of that would be a close-up, a wide angle shot, or a long shot. You can think of this as, how close to the subject your camera is, right? So I'm going to show you a few examples of how to change the camera angle and the camera shot to get various compositions. All right. So now let's start converting each of our scenes into image prompts. And while we do that, we're going to follow this structure. We're going to try and cover all of these elements for each scene. Okay. So the first scene is fairly simple. The prompt for that, the one that I've written, is full body, wide angle shot, a man with black hair wearing a tuxedo, holding out a gun, entering abandoned building at night, dark atmosphere. So here's the thing. You don't always have to write complete, elaborate sentences with perfect grammar. A lot of times, especially if you're working with anime styles, just separating key concepts by commas, that works. That works perfectly fine. Okay, so you can see this is my paragraph. This is kind of how it would appear in a novel or if you're writing prose. But I've captured the essence of this in a prompt. And I've just tried to describe only the image here. Okay. And you can see here that I've got full body wide angle shot, right? So this is what I mean by camera angle and camera shot. Okay. And I've described my character here. It's a man with black hair wearing a tuxedo. So I've described the man a little bit, the appearance and the dress. Holding out a gun, that's the action. And so is entering an abandoned building. Abandoned building at night becomes the location and the time. And finally, I've said dark atmosphere. Okay. So your prompts don't always have to be in this exact order. You can do it if you're comfortable with that, if you like a bit of order and structure to how you work. But I think the essence of it is your prompt needs to capture all of these elements. Sometimes it helps to put a concept at the beginning of a prompt because the AI model reads your prompt from beginning to the end. So if you're very particular about something being represented, it's sometimes useful to put it in the beginning of the prompt. Not always, but it's on a case-by-case basis. All right, let's look at panel 2. So panel 2 has 3 concepts. Okay, so it's a multi-character scene. It's an action scene. It's actually a fairly complex scene. And I've broken it down into 3 prompts because what we're actually going to do for this is we're going to generate 3 separate images and we're going to combine them into one. I'm going to show you how that works, and I'm going to show you what happens if you try to generate such a complex scene with a single text prompt, right? It's going to start messing up or mixing up all of the concepts. Okay, so we're going to generate 3 images for each of these, and then I'm going to put them all together. So I'm going to create my location or my background, which is a dark abandoned building interior at night, darkness, wide angle shot. I want a blonde woman wearing a red sleeveless party dress, kicking with a determined expression. And this is my protagonist, a man with black hair wearing a tuxedo, holding a gun in an outstretched hand with a shocked expression. So once I've covered all the core concepts of a prompt's anatomy within all these 3 items put together. Now, when we move to panel 3, this is again a multi-character complex sort of composition. I've got only 2 prompts here because I'm actually going to reuse the location, which is the dark abandoned building, from my previous generation. We're going to look at how to do that. So here I've got a side angle shot of a blonde woman wearing the same clothes, pointing a gun with a smirking expression, right? So I'm going to mention blonde woman wearing red sleeveless party dress. I'm going to mention that everywhere where I want scarlet. Okay, so it just helps maintain that consistency. Similarly, for Kirk, I've got man with black hair wearing tuxedo. I'm going to mention it in every single prompt that has Kirk in it. All right, panel 4 is fairly simple. I think we can get away with just one prompt, one generation. So this is a close-up of Kirk's face, close-up side angle shot, man with black hair, scowling expression, and a dark background. And then we go to panel 5, which again is slightly more complex. So we have a blonde woman wearing a red dress, of course, that's Scarlet. We have a Terminator robot with glowing red eyes. And slightly different background this time. I'm still going to say dark abandoned building interior, but we can't use the same background because our camera angle has changed at this point. All right. And finally, the last panel is man with black hair wearing a tuxedo, action pose, arm outstretched, laser beam, dark abandoned building, interior background. Okay. So with that planned out, let's get into our image generation. Okay, so I'm here at dashtoon.com/studio, and the way to create new Dashtoon is to simply click on the Create New Dashtoon button. Okay, so the first thing you will be shown is what we call as story mode. All right, so it's going to let you just enter a one-liner and then create a short, quick comic based on this. This time around, we don't want to do this because we've got our own story. So I'm going to skip. My style selection is going to be default Anime Forge. That's one of our new styles. I would highly recommend all of you to check it out. And then we come to character selection. So we need to add 2 characters to the scene. One is a blonde woman for Scarlet, and the other is a man with black hair for Kirk. So that is a blonde woman. All right, so I'm going to add that to Dashtoon. I'm going to take her out. And we need, what else do we need? We need a man with black hair. Okay, so I'm going to add, there you go. I'm going to add Owen. All right. This is Dashtoon's default character library. You can, of course, train your own characters. But if you're just getting started, I would highly recommend that you get started with the character library. It just makes things a whole lot easier. All right. Now with my characters selected, I'm going to click Next. We are going to call this Kirk's Robot Adventure. I don't know. All right, this is action and romance. Sure. All right. So you are going to be greeted with a few instructions just to get started. These are instructions about how to use Dashtoon Studio. If you're a first-time user, you can zoom into these. You don't really need them right now for this masterclass, so I'm just going to get rid of them. And let's get started. So the first thing I will do is add a page. I am going to add a blank page to my canvas. All right. And in case you've seen the earlier masterclass, you know that everything that goes onto a page will be represented in your Dashtoon when you publish it. And if not, if you haven't seen the previous video, well, now you know. So we've added a page. Let's create our first panel. Okay. So I've got my prompts written out in advance here while I was doing the planning. So I'm just going to use that. You can do this if you like, have everything planned out in advance. We're actually going to bring a feature on the platform that lets you do this. But since we don't have that right now, we're just going to go ahead and copy that from the presentation. So the next thing I do is create a frame. I can also use shortcut F. And I'm going to draw a frame on the canvas. Okay, so let's, that looks fine. All right, and I'm simply going to add a prompt here. Okay. I can add my character here. So I will just select my character and it will automatically add, Owen, adult male, brown eyes, black medium hair. Right. So this is actually too much detail for me. I'm going to just get rid of all of this. Just going to say Owen, man, brown eyes, black hair. We'll get rid of black hair here. Okay, and I'm going to hit generate. Okay, I have got my image, and that's actually that's pretty cool. I can zoom in here. I can take a look at how it's going to turn out. If you want more variations, you can always do this. Let's try to generate 3 more variations. Okay. I actually like this. This is pretty cool. He just entered the building. He's holding his gun up. So I'm going to go with this one. All right. So all I had to do was hit the apply button. And I would like a little more clarity on his face. So what I'm going to do is in Paint, I'm going to enhance his face. The way to do that is to go to Edit, select your mask, and just paint a little bit over here. We could do with a smaller mask actually. There you go. Okay. And what this does is that it is only going to change the masked region, nothing else. Okay. And my edit strength, I'm going to leave it at 0.5. Now this determines how much of a change I want here, right? So I've already got my basic face. It is a generic, it's a guy, it's Owen in fact, with black hair. And I just want a little more clarity here. So I'm going to ask for 50% change. That is pretty much what you can think of as 0.5 edit strength. So a 0.7 edit strength would mean that the area under your mask changes by 70%. That's a good way to think about it, right? And this time around, I just want Owen, man, brown eyes, black hair. Okay. All right, there we go. That looks okay. Now you're probably wondering why, this image of Owen looks realistic while this is, kind of like in an anime style. The simple reason is that we are in an anime style right now. That's what we've selected, Anime Forge, right? Now, this is what Owen looks like when we apply this style, right? The thumbnail here, of course, has a more realistic, almost like photographic version of Owen, but that's fine. Don't let that bother you too much. Okay, so we've got our first image. Let's look at the second one. All right, now here we've got 3 concepts, right? A dark abandoned building, a blonde woman wearing a red sleeveless dress, she's kicking, and a man with black hair wearing a tuxedo. Okay, cool. So we are actually going to generate these 3 images separately and then put them together into one image. So the way I'm going to do this is by using reference images. I have downloaded a few reference images already, so I'm just going to use those. But what you can actually do is go to Google, search for any reference image, and you can just use that. So these are the reference images that I'm going to use. Okay. Yeah, sometimes it'll give you a warning if your image is larger than 1600 pixels, either length or breadth. So you can adjust that. Yeah, it should be fine. 1606, that's okay. All right, so this is my interior. It's like an old abandoned building. There are windows right there on the side. And here I've got an image of a woman who is kicking. Okay, she's, I know it's not a blonde woman in a red party dress who's kicking, but we are going to turn her into that. Okay, so don't worry. Great. What we will do now is create a frame around this. and create a frame around this image as well. So in this case, in this image, we want only the man here, since it's an image of a man who's having like a gun, knocked out from his hand. So we're going to create frames around each of these. And in the first one, I'm just going to add my prompt here. And you notice that when I created an image, when I created a frame around an image, my method changed automatically to storyboard to comic. Now, what that does is it uses this image as a storyboard to guide your AI to generate an image. All right. Now, what we're going to do is select storyboard to comic with a method strength of 1. And what the method strength means is that, again, how closely your generated image needs to follow your input image. So a method strength of 1 means that your generated image will very closely follow, this reference image while treating it as a storyboard. And if you lower it, that means that it's barely going to follow it, right? So I'm actually going to keep this at like a 0.8.85. Okay, because I'm fairly happy with the layout of the building here, but I still want to give the AI a little creative liberty. All right, so let's see what it comes up with. I'm actually going to add something here. So I'm going to add moonlight coming in through windows. Okay, all right. That's actually pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and use that. All right. Let's move on to our next image, which is this. And what I'm going to do here is, again, I'm going to use storyboard to comic. Okay, but I need to make some changes to this image before I do that. Okay, so I'm going to go into edit because that's where I have my paintbrush. And because I want my character wearing, a dress, a party dress, I'm going to eliminate a few of the, extra protruding stuff because of her karate gi, right? So let's get rid of that. So it's just going to take up the contours of her actual leg. All right. The rest of it actually seems okay. Let's say I don't want some of this. I can actually clean that up. I'm going to use the soft brush this time, which is actually a new feature. You can take a look at that. This is what the soft brush does. And I can increase the hardness a little bit. As you can see, 100% hardness is the same as a hard brush. Take it down a little bit. You can see what that does. All right, so we're going to get rid of that. You'll notice that I'm not quite adding red color here. And there's a good reason for that. I don't really need a red color right now because I'm only using this as a storyboard. If we use this as an image reference, yeah, I would have used red color here. And we're going to look at how to do that as well. So, okay, so we want her wearing like a dress. I'm going to do a bit of that. Yeah. All right. So now that I have made my image edits from the edit tab, I will go back to generate and I will say storyboard to comic. I'll probably use like a 0.7 strength here. Like I don't want it exactly following these contours for the storyboard. So that's why I'm going to reduce the strength a little bit, and I'm going to write my second prompt. Okay, all right. We have got a pretty good image. Okay. Um, I will probably just make a few changes to this. I would much rather have her in um, a plain white background. Okay, and I'm going to actually reduce this to 0.5 and heels. Okay, so let's make some edits right here for the heels. Oh, we're still on the soft brush. Okay. And we'll just get rid of anything that we don't want. Okay, all right. I think that's fine. Perfect. All right, great. So we've got some output here. Let's go with that. That seems okay. All right. What we will do now is again, we'll inpaint the face. The first time I did not use a character, if you noticed, all right, because I'm going to use it now when I make some changes to the face. Okay. Before we do that, I'm going to get rid of this little thing here. And to do that, I go to the magic eraser. In the edit mode, I go to magic eraser, I paint over it, and I say erase. All right, perfect. Now let's go here. Let's select a face. Yeah, the red eye is actually kind of cool. I'm gonna keep that. So you can see the red eyes here. So I'm gonna get rid of the gray eyes that were in the prompt. Okay. She was supposed to have a determined expression. So let's try another iteration where we add that. Okay, so I got my first generation, and we're waiting for the second one where her expression should be better. Okay, I think we can enhance that a little bit. So if you want to enhance a certain word or a certain phrase in your prompt, the way to do it is put brackets around it, and you can say colon 1.2 or 1.3, right? So the default is colon 1. You don't have to do anything for it. But if you want to increase the strength of this, of determined expression, what I said is determined expression colon 1.2, and I've put the entire thing in brackets, right? I can add a few other synonyms of determined as well, like determined, stern. All right, that's better. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the background from this image, because after all, we want to take this and put it into this scene here, right? So let's say apply. All right, so the background has been removed. I can select this image. Oh, so the frame is selected. I click again. Now the image is selected, and I can move this. Let's move this outside here for now. Later we'll move it all there. Great. Now we need our guy, and we need this guy from this reference image. How do we do that? All right, so I'm going to introduce a really cool new tool called segmentation. So you can go to edit, click on this and say segment. And what it's going to do is break up this image into individual segments. As you can see each segment get highlighted as I hover on it, right? So if I want to select this particular segment, all I do is click here, and I want this part, and I want this part, I want the gun, and I want this part. Great. Now there are a lot of things I can do after I segment an image, such as add it as a mask, and then we can do something like the operation we did earlier. Oops, come on, Z there. Yeah. Okay, I can add a color overlay over it. I can use, put an entire magic eraser mask over it and erase it. I can extract this selected piece from the image, or I can delete this from the image. So I want to extract this piece. All right. And as you can see, just this piece has been extracted. What I'm going to do now is create a frame around it. Okay. Because now I want to use this as a reference, and I want to create something new. Okay. So I'm going to go into edit first, because I need to make some changes. For example, I need to get rid of this hand. Okay, I need to fill this part up. All right. I should also, make this a little better, because I don't want my guy to be actually wearing a hoodie, right? He's wearing a tuxedo. So we don't want that. That doesn't actually look right. Yeah, that should be fine. And our guy has black hair, doesn't he? So let's do a bit of that. Now you're probably wondering, why am I coloring things so specifically here when I didn't do it last time around? Remember when I said that you don't have to color this image since you're using this as a storyboard. Well, here's the thing. We're not going to use this image as a storyboard. We're going to use a new mode of creation. And if you recall, the gun was, I think, a little bit longer in the previous one, almost as if it had like a silencer attached. So let's do that. Okay, and now remember that he is wearing a tuxedo, right? So let's make this a little more gray, or a little more black, I'm sorry. So I'm using the soft brush here. Um, that's pretty helpful. You can still see a few of those folds in his clothes, right? Um, now I'll probably shift to a hard brush, because now we will add his bow tie. It's maybe a little bit more. Yeah. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a method of creation called image to image, which means I'm going to take this entire thing as a reference image. I'm not going to draw a mask anywhere on it. I'm going to use the entire image as a reference image. I'm not going to use it as a storyboard. The difference there is that when I use an image as a storyboard, it only extracts, you can say, the contours of the image. It treats it like a black and white storyboard, white lines on, black lines on a white background. But when you do image to image, it actually picks up the color from the underlying image. All right. So, and you're going to see the difference. I'm going to say, Owen, man, brown eyes, black hair. What was the prompt? Wearing a tuxedo, holding a gun, an outstretched hand, and a shocked expression. Okay, so I'm going to change this entire image, and you will recall that this setting, that stays the same, right? The edit strength is still 0.5. So irrespective of whether I have a mask or I don't, the edit strength is still relevant, because I'm still telling the AI that, hey, change this image by like 50%. Okay, and I will still add plain white background. Let's hit generate. Okay, that's actually pretty good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. There seems to be a little bit of bleeding because of our soft brush. That's actually okay. We can correct that fairly easily. Okay, so now it's blending in pretty well with the rest of the image. Yeah, these things happen sometimes. I didn't expect it to pick up those blurry black edges, but it did. So we're not going to change anything at all. We're just going to hit generate again. Perfect. That's good. Um, I can probably enter. It's 0.5. Not change that. We'll try one more. Okay, that's great. Now I do the same thing that I did earlier, which is remove the background. All right, perfect. What we can now do is drag all of these images into our main frame here. Now I need to bring this to the front. And I probably also need to increase the width of this frame. So I'm going to go to select the frame, go to settings. I'm going to disable scale frame content, increase the width of the frame by just a little. Okay, so this lets me move this image a little bit, lets me move this image a little bit. There. Okay, and I want to fill up this black background, right? So we can do that by again going to the edit tab, selecting the brush tool, going here. Oops. All right. Now you can see that's covering his hand. So I can actually select the stroke. I can reorder it and I can say send backward. All right. Perfect. The last thing I will do is do an image to image again, but at like a very, very low edit strength, like make it 0.15. Right? And I'm going to write the prompt as dark abandoned building, interior, night, darkness. Blonde woman wearing a red dress, kicking. Yeah. A man wearing a tuxedo, holding a gun, looking shocked. All right, there we go. Okay. Um, we can look at this. Actually, I liked my image before I inpainted it quite a bit. Yeah, let's take a look at this, and let's go to history, and let's take a look at this one. I'll probably have to inpaint this one again. So let's just stick with our original, right? This is what we had. Oops. Okay, I need to, yeah, that's right. Enable that setting again, and great. Cool. Um, we can actually get rid of the rest of those work in progress panels, and now move on to our third one. What's the third one? Panel 3 is blonde woman pointing a gun at Kirk. All right, perfect. Okay, so for this, I've got another handy storyboard that I'm going to bring onto the canvas. There you go. This was pretty easy to find on Google. I think I just searched for woman pointing a gun at a man or something like that, right? Okay. Great. So I'm going to double click this image. So now I can crop it. I'm going to double click this image. Now I can crop that. Okay. I'm going to turn this image around. So I'm going to flip horizontally. Oops. Okay. Looks like we should have flipped it and then cropped it. Okay. And I'm going to create frames around both of these. Now here, we're simply going to put in the prompt plain white background because I want to get rid of the background later. Storyboard to comic. This is a very well-defined storyboard, you know, the contours and everything. So I'm going to leave this pretty high. Actually, I think I can leave it at even like a 0.8. 0.8. Oh, that's better. And I will do the same here. Take this to 0.8. Plain white background. All right, and I actually want to keep the same background that I've got here on the frame. So I think I'll go to history. Oh, this is a copied image, sorry. So I'm going to select just the background here, Control C, Control V. I'll drag it out. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to, scene is going to be a little more centered. Okay, I'll actually do that later. Okay, we got one image here, we got one image here. All right, both of these are going to need edits. Okay, this is actually all right because I can clear out the gunshot. I can, yeah, but I need her looking forward, right? So let's see what we should do. Okay, I'm going to try one more generation where it says looking away from viewer. And I'm going to give a little more weightage to side angle shot. This is another way to add weightage to your prompts, right? Just double brackets. It's the same as doing colon 1.2. Should we increase this maybe like a 0.9 or 0.85? Yeah, I'm hoping that'll hold the contours of the storyboard a little better. Okay. This is mostly okay. A few changes. So, of course, um, we want his tuxedo to be all the way up his arms. So one sec. Okay, and you can actually correct his fingers a little bit. Oops, sorry. That's one. That's two, three. Yeah, I'm not going to add my character here because with the anime style, I think I'm getting a character just like that, just by prompting. Okay, this is so much better. This is good. So now I'm going to inpaint this for more clarity, and I'm just going to say a blonde woman smirking um, expression, uh, looking away from the viewer, and like a 0.5 change, like 50% change. So, so I get a little more detail on her face. Should have added looking away from the viewer here as well. Perfect. All right. So let's get rid of the background for her. Hmm. Oh, it's giving me that weird shadow, right? Okay, but she's going to be standing in the dark, so I don't really want that. So the best thing to do is just get rid of the shadow right here. Perfect. Okay, we got this as well, and this time I'm going to segment this person out because then I don't have to worry about getting rid of all this stuff. Yeah. Hmm. It's not very clean, is it? All right, we might as well remove the background then. Okay, much better. Okay, we'll just make sure that this looks to scale with respect to the large warehouse. All right, perfect. I'm going to get rid of that annoying dot. I don't know what that is. Okay, so I just turned it into a frame. All right, and that leaves me plenty of space for the bubbles, the dialogue bubbles also that I want to add on top because this scene has quite a bit of dialogue. Great, third panel done. Panel 4. Okay, so this one's going to be fairly easy. Square image. Might as well add this. So, man, brown eyes, black hair, close up, side angle shot, scowling expression, dark background. Okay. So here I've just used text to image, right? So I'm not really going to use a guidance image or anything like that for this. Oh, before that, wearing a tuxedo. That works. I'm actually going to extend this a little bit. I can also, if you're using a pen tablet like me, you can use this setting, the pressure of that you apply on your tablet, that will control the size of your stroke. That's quite convenient at times. Okay, so I can just use this to blend my image in. Okay, perfect. Now the reason we did that is because I want to add a bit of dialogue over here. Okay, okay, we gotta lock this once again. Okay, perfect. All right, great. That was fast. Panel 4 done. Panel 5. Okay. Panel 5 is interesting. We have a woman and a robot. Okay. Cool. So let's get started with this. These are my two reference images. The first thing I will do is clean this up a little bit. Get rid of any watermarks that may be there from earlier. You don't have to do a lot of work really, because most of it won't get picked up in the storyboard anyways. Okay, that's all right. Now, again, there are two ways to do this. One is to use image to image, and one is to use this as a storyboard. Let's try both approaches. Now, if I want to use this as just a reference image, I will have to paint over it. So let's pick the right shade of red from here. Okay, and now we also want to make her hair blonde, because what image to image does is it's just going to pick up whatever you have below it as a reference. So if you have a brunette woman, you're most likely going to get some kind of a brunette woman, even if you prompt for a blonde woman, right? So that's the difference. You can be really crude about this. I'm not going to be um, super detailed, and you will see that this it'll just work just as well. Right. What I want to be a little specific about is maybe the jawline a little bit. um, okay, I don't know if that's going to work. Let's just see. Okay, so we're going to do an image to image here at 0.5 strength. And then what we will do is we will do a storyboard to comic or let's do an edge to comic rather, because this is a photograph. Okay, and edge to comic is basically just going to take every small detail contour of this image, right? Way more than a storyboard. A storyboard is just like a rough guide. This is going to be way more detailed. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of those buttons. Hopefully, I don't think it'll pick up, all these watermarks, but we'll try. So we're going to say, for this one, we're going to say edge to comic, and yeah, I'm actually going to, let's see what happens at 1. I'm going to copy the prompt from this. Oh, that's good. Oh, wait, I think we went overboard. 1. Oh, that's so good. I actually like this so much, I think I'm just going to use it. um, Perfect. Yeah, no, that's not going to work. We're going to reduce the strength to 0.7. So you can see here, because the edge to comic processes the image in such a way that it only takes contours. So it's kind of disregarded her brunette color. It's made a blonde because I prompted for blonde, right? Right. It didn't quite understand that, it was supposed to be skin color here and not leggings, right? So I'm not going to use that. I'm going to stick with this. I'll select the image, uh, take that out. And now let's do something with the robot. So for the robot, I'm definitely going to use edge to comic. I'm going to make it 0.9. I'm going to say steel body, glowing red eyes. I want all those details. Okay, so edge to comics is going to preserve all of that. All right, so while that generates, let's prepare our frame. I'm going to extend the page. I've got my frame. I think, yeah, that's a decent size. Sure. Oh, that's good. But I need a plain white background. Let's see what I get with the white background. Actually, no. I'm going to double down on dark background and you'll see why in just a bit. We don't need that. Oh, it's a little too dark. Actually, we should try an image to image with this as well. So I'll just go to edit, no mask. Um, yeah, because it's white, I know it's not going to give me a dark background. So glowing red eyes. All right. 0.5. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. It's actually pretty good. That's good. That's good. We can add another overlay on top of it a little later. Huh. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, so you can see that image to image worked great for this one, but edge to comic worked great for this one, right? So it's a little subjective. Sometimes you have to try a few things out before you figure out exactly what's going to work. Okay. Um, Now there's two things we can do. One is bring this image right here into this one. Yeah, in fact, I think that's the approach I'll take. So we've got her and we've got like a giant robot that's behind her, right? Send to back. Okay. But before we do that, I'm going to clean things up a little bit. So I'm going to go to edit, select this color, soft brush. So earlier, what used to happen is a lot of these things folks would end up doing in other software like Clip Studio, right? The good part is that now you can just do it in Dashtoon. You don't need to migrate softwares. You don't need to jump from one to the other. You just got it here. And that's kind of been our philosophy right from the start. When we set out to make this, that we want to make comic creation easy. So not just the generative AI capabilities, but also all this other stuff like creating panels, creating um, brushes, effects, things like that. So okay, close that gap first, and then add the red. Perfect. Okay. In general, I want to add a little like a I want to keep this dude in the shadows. You know what I mean? It's a little too much. Maybe. Yeah. I want him like emerging from the shadows. Except for the eyes. So now we'll switch to the eraser and oh, yeah, that's working. Okay. Right. I think she needs a bit of like darkness on her as well, just a little bit. So let's do that. Let's do that. Not a lot, very little. Yeah. Was that a little too much? Maybe. Maybe. Mm, yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Perfect. Um, Panel 6. Okay, so now we've got this. Last panel. Okay, here we're going to use something really interesting called live mode. Okay. Um, Before we do that, should probably, keep this background with me because, Kirk is still in that same position. And now that I've selected my frame, you can, if you're confused between selecting a frame or whether the frame is selected or the image inside it is selected, if you ever have a confusion, just go to the edge of the frame, click on that. You'll always see, if the frame is selected, you'll see this blue thing over here. That's basically the name of the frame. That's how you know that the frame is selected. Okay, now we're going to go to live. We're going to paste this prompt. Now we'll select this frame. We will go to live, the brush, and we're going to draw. We'll start with his feet. And as you can see, because I'm using live mode, as I'm painting here, you're getting some changes here. Okay. Now, if I paste the prompt here, right? And if I don't paste any prompt, it's just going to interpret things on its own, right? That's going to be pretty useless for what I want. So if I paste a prompt, as I draw, I'm going to start getting stuff. Okay. Now I want skin colored head. I want some black hair. And what was he wearing? He was wearing... Okay, let's give him a bit of a neck. Yeah. He was wearing a tuxedo, right? So... Oops. That should be enough. Now this arm is coming over. I'm just using the shortcuts to change the brush size, right? So your brackets, or rather your 9 and 0 keys, those are the ones that can very easily change the size. Okay. So we've got his fist like this. And now he's supposed to be shooting this out of his watch, right? So that's, like classic James Bond move. You know what, actually, that's not quite right. Yeah. Okay, I think we have a few issues with the eraser. We'll fix those. And I think that's not right because his hand should have been angled a little more upwards, right? Like from here to here. Yeah. It's too long a hand. Yeah, that's better. And now we'll draw the watch. Okay, and finally you want the laser coming out of it. So yeah, we'll just clean the rest of that up. So now that we've got Kirk, let's add the laser beam coming out of his watch. So we'll put one dot here and then press Shift and click anywhere so that a straight line is drawn between the two dots. All right. I'm actually going to make this panel a little bigger. Yeah. Just like that, because I want the focus to be on Kirk, not where the laser beam is going. All right. So with that, we've finished all of our image generation. And all that is left now is to make this look better, right? Oh, how did that get there? So now we're going to look at the spacing, adding gutter space, giving a few borders to our panels, post-processing, things like that, right? The first thing we'll do is let's add like a nice gradient to this. So right now it's filled with white, but we'll go to linear gradient and I'm going to say auto gradient here. And that is actually automatically going to add a gradient behind the entire panel. Okay, so I can adjust this however I want. All right, so now let's add our first speech bubble. So for speech bubble, I just go here and I'm going to say, I'm going to get like a round bubble. The default is rectangular bubble, but I want a round bubble. Okay, so there it is. And I can also change my tail. So I want a tail that curves this way. And I can reposition the bubble. I can reposition the tail however I want. And I'm going to add the text. She's got, wait, she has to be here. Okay. On second thoughts, actually, I'm going to change that to a thought bubble. Thought 2. Okay, and we'll change the tail to, we'll change the tail to a thought bubble. Okay, then let's put the next scene in here. Okay, I want all the edges to be visible. So we'll fit it in like that, and I'm going to make this white as well. I think we can make this 35. Yeah, I believe the last one was 35 as well. Okay. Now another thing that I can do is, so when I select the frame, I can actually add something like a cinematic color grading, right? Okay, let's try and find this frame. Oh, perfect. Let's try and add a little bit of, let's reduce the brightness a little bit for both of these, like 75. Also reduce the saturation just a little because, you know, it's dark. I also want to add some sound effects here. So we'll draw a text box and we'll have it say whack. Right, you can't see that right now because it's black. We'll make it white, and let's change the font as well. Yeah, I like that. What color would work? White is fine. Okay, so let's make sure that, yeah, you can still see the gun. Perfect. I think we can move this further down. And this too. Cool. All right, I'm gonna add this frame here a little lower. I think we'll change the background a little bit now. Yeah, I actually like that. So we're gonna start real dark, get a little lighter. And something like this. That's the color I want. Yeah. Perfect. Let's look at the dialogues now. Panel 3, Scarlett says, I didn't expect you to find me so quickly. Okay, I think we want these dialogues in all caps, so we just have to write them ourselves. Yeah. Round speech bubble. I didn't. Okay. Oh, it's probably white. No. Okay, there it is. Okay, you look like you couldn't wait to see me again. I'm gonna move this here. Okay, you want this a little higher up because this is the starting point. And a left curved tail. This one will have a right curved tail. He's saying that. So you look like you couldn't wait to see me again. Okay, now we kind of want the same bubble because her conversation continues. We'll change the tail left curved. And yeah, we'll keep it like that. We can also adjust the tail's width, so that's really convenient, right? We'll send this. Perfect. I was just preparing a surprise, darling. Okay. Great. What do we have here? Okay, now we have our man who is not happy. He doesn't look happy at all, right? Cool. So, what can we do with the gradient here? What's the dialogue? I know all about the AI robot army your organization is building. Okay. Let's try to do something interesting. Yeah, I want some image like this. Okay, I'm just gonna copy this image and I'm gonna put it here. Now you'll see that I can do something very interesting with this, which is, once I put it into the page, I'll put it behind the frame. Oops. Yeah. Okay, cool. What we're going to do now is start with blur this. Okay. Another thing I can do is I've converted this into a frame, so I can take um, a brush. So let me select this image, reduce the blur by a little bit, and say I just want to blur, this area. So what I'll do is within the frame, take the brush, soft brush. Say I don't want that symbol there. Now I can use blend modes just like you have in Photoshop. So this is a new feature that we've actually introduced. So I'm going to make the border with 0 here. All right. All right. And we're actually going to write this entire dialogue here. Where he says, I know all. Okay, let's make it white first. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so I guess that means we're at the end of this page. Let's correct. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. All right, over to page 2. That's where we put the second frame, the next frame. I guess we can start right at the top actually. Page 2, okay. All right, so we want a clean transition from this page to the other page. So what we can do is the last color of this gradient here, this color. Let's match that with this one. Did I get that right? Yeah. Okay. And let's start this gradient. Oh no, that's not what we want. Perfect. All right. The other thing you want to do is you want to get rid of this border. So border with 0. And the text we have here is, well, in that case, you might as well be our first test subject. Let's have a flash bubble here. No, I don't think this bubble is working out a lot. Yeah, I think this is better. Okay, that looks good. And then really focus in on him. Yeah. Now I'll draw the frame. I will add a brush stroke. Oops. Yeah, we got to correct a bit of his shoe. That's fine. And I want a... What border do I want here? No, not red. No, actually, you know what? I think a black border works just fine in this case. Okay. Um, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the page. I'm going to add this laser beam. I'm going to try and add it outside the page. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. And let's add some text, like some nice sound effect, like. Oh, this is the one I'm looking for. Yeah. Okay. Not so fast. I've still got a few tricks up my sleeve. What kind of a bubble do we want here? Okay, cool. I think our Dashtoon is ready. So let's preview it and let's publish it. Oh, okay. So we have set a thumbnail first. Okay. So what we can do is we can select a frame from the object hierarchy. And say set as thumbnail. Perfect. This is our final comic strip. That actually looks kind of cool. Nice. All right, and that's about it. I think we're done with a comic, an entire Dashtoon. We've told a short story about a secret agent. This was fun, a lot of fun creating this, and I hope you follow in these footsteps and create one too. All right, thank you so much. Before we go, I just want to talk to you about the Dashtoon Studio Creator Program. So if you go to dashtoon.com/creators, you will get to know all about it. With the creator program, we let great storytellers like you, hopefully, apply to Dashtoon, and we support you in all sorts of ways. So we will support you with one-on-one coaching on how to create Dashtoons, how to use Dashtoon's AI and all of its tools. We will help you publish and eventually earn on Dashtoon, right? So program takes you through a series of steps, a series of tutorials where we will train you on the platform. And once you have published one episode, that's when you become eligible for the program. Once you publish 10 episodes, you become eligible for monetization. Once you publish and start monetize, we will promote you on our app. So when we say publish, that means you publish on the Dashtoon mobile app. You can check it out on iOS and Android both. It's available on both platforms. It has more than 200,000 downloads and readers. So, and this is a global audience. So this is going to help you take your AI-assisted Dashtoon, AI-assisted comics to the entire world. We're going to help you promote it and market it. You will also be assigned a personal success manager from our team who will do everything from help you with using the platform to listen to your feedback, to let you know about the latest activities and the events that we're conducting. And we also have things like exclusive creator program webinars, networking events where you get to talk and associate with other creators, give us feedback, help us improve the platform, and so on. Right. The great thing is if you get selected for the creator program by publishing one good quality episode, you also get upgraded to the pro plan automatically, which means that you're not restricted by just 100 image generations and one character creation per day. It goes all the way up to 1,000, and we will upgrade you to pro plan for as long as you need. So to apply for the creator program, we have a very, very simple form here. So just please fill out your email, your name, your country of residence, your phone number so that we can get in touch with you. And if you already have a story or a concept of an idea of a comic that you would like to publish on Dashtoon, please let us know about that as well. And somebody from our team will get back to you. And thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure doing this masterclass for you. Let us know in the comments what you think, what you would like to see in the next masterclass, any feedback that you have for us, any ways we can improve the product. And don't forget to share this masterclass and Dashtoon Studio with all your fellow creators. Lastly, please subscribe to the Dashtoon Studio YouTube channel. That's where we will be publishing several more masterclasses, several webinars, tutorials, tips and tricks, and all sorts of interesting content that's going to help you create. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Goodbye.